What is going on YouTube? This is Acid Roots Wire. So this is part 25 of the Devil May Cry walkthrough. So in this particular episode, we're going to get started with Mission 15. Unfortunately, this gameplay segment did not really figure out what to do as much with Mission 15. There were some tricky type segments I wasn't sure as to whether or not I had to do with it. There's just kind of some awkward jumping in this particular episode. I was hoping that was not a part of like the mission collective. It might be. I'm not really as full bound sure, but we'll figure it out as far as those fairs can have. I'm just going to look up the walkthrough as far as those fairs can happen in the next episode. That'd be the fair behind it. But yeah, just the basic concept here, just being able to say and stuff that like we did get to the Coliseum just within the pitch as far as those fairs going to happen. So you have to get like a shield and like two other items within this particular episode as far as those fairs going to happen, all amongst these enemies that kind of pop up. So this is kind of within the fair. I don't really have like a lot of red orbs. I kind of spent them last time on like the green orbs that I needed. So I'm just going to have to kind of say and stuff. I might have to wind up fighting a lot of these folks as far as those fairs going to happen. But the problem with it is I'm using the green health orbs to defeat the enemies that are not giving that much red orbs to buy more green orbs. And the thing about it is when you like go to like a new area, the enemies come back. So it's just like, you know, because it's not really like a role-playing game or something like that where you level up, it is just pointless fighting. So I just look after here, so it really just doesn't make that much of a difference. I just figured this would be easier just to hold on to the green orbs, but I do need at least more money to, you know, or yeah, currency to be able to get towards doing some of that stuff. I look after it here. So in terms of like music type fair, the concept of some of this mixtape type fair within the pitch behind it is just the fact that I just, you know, the more contemplation that's really put into it, the more I realize that some of these type things are really like a huge disappointment. Like just thinking, like I've decided I'm going to start doing more custom mixtapes. Now I knew about this beforehand, but just more oftenly there's going to be custom mixtapes popping up on like Acid Roots music as far as those fairs going to happen. They're just going to have some sort of appeal. It's going to be pretty similar to like the stuff that Jackal Goldkick kind of did with like JGK Records, where he has a bunch of music that's just not to be found anywhere else. When you think of folks like Olet and that Alex Ander dude and like some of those type of folks, like definitely the JB stuff, some of those type of fairs within the pitch behind it. But just within the fair, as far as saying, there's just certain situations where you look after it, there's just not places for this particular music for it to particularly be around, and it's just kind of, it's an unfortunate aspect because they're like just to say, like, I don't know if folks know about this, but if you're coming to this particular video and you haven't watched more of like the Devil May Cry playthrough, I've talked about the mixtape fair within a certain extent, but yeah, there were 500,000 mixtapes that were on either DatPiff or the Internet Archive. Definitely way more on DatPiff, but on the Internet Archive, 500,000, they're just gone for good, and there just doesn't seem to be really any type sequencing to try to get it back. So it's just kind of the concept. When you look after that like, I just think the venom of that particular statement maybe is not hitting like the world heavily enough what those hackers did last year within the pitch behind it, because you know I went mixtape hunting pretty recently and I found some folks within those particular type of fairs, and it was just kind of the concept as far as May saying that there were folks that there's going to be folks like, just to say a name like DJ Ghost or something like that. That's a particular mixtape artist that I found that not necessarily made new music, but was kind of similar to DJ Khaled and just hosting mixtapes that had like a lot of stuff. Now I was able to find the songs off of that just because they were not original songs, but if they had been, like if DJ Ghost had actually had original songs and they were just gone because they were only on that mixtape, you would never be able to hear a mixtape with a vicious quality like that. And this is kind of the concept, like when you think of someone like another person I found, which was T. Wayne, which I don't know if he dropped mixtapes, but just people like that that are just going to be consistently unavailable. And that's just, there's millions of those folks, or at least hundreds of thousands just within the pitch as far as saying. And I know it's not to just have like this lesson, on, not just to be like some sort of, you know, education type lesson within the pitch behind, but this is kind of the concept as far as saying that it's just, yeah, there's just tons of music that is just gone, just circa anything past like September, October 2024 is just kind of the concept that in a lot of senses, unless people have it, and that's a real particular type thing. I mean, the thing about that is like, there's something like, I remember Jackal Goldkick talking with me in the past that he knew someone that had like some JB songs or something like that, and they didn't want to restore them because he asked for them more oftenly than they would have wanted him to. And it's just kind of the pitch that seems like that's the sort of thing that happens with a lot of folks. Yeah, they have this music, but unless you have like the particular way of unless you have the particular kind of persuasion to know how to talk within the aspect of getting like the music, it just feels like it's not going to happen. There's just folks that like having that power as far as saying, well, yeah, I have something that you may want or have the essence of wanting, but it's just not going to happen. And that just kind of happens to be the pitch behind it. But it's just, that's kind of the way the situations kind of work, where it's just, like there was a particular mixtape I was trying to think of, and I don't remember what it was. There's some ones like, just like for example, like an Eminem mixtape that I found last year on like the Dat Piff list that would have been really awesome to have gotten. It's like, it was basically called like the Eminem, the Slim Reaper, the Slim Rip. It was called like the Eminem, the Slim Reaper mixtape, which was made. It was not an official Eminem mixtape, but it was made by a cat named like the Mixtape Monarch, and basically what it was leftovers or something like that, just extra songs from like the Marshall Mathers LP2 era. So it came out in 2013, somewhere around that time, maybe even 2014, somewhere around the particular time, somewhere between when Eminem dropped like the song Berserk and then like songs and just the after effect of that particular era, that particular era of like Marshall Mathers LP2. And to say here, the concept about it here is you're not supposed to be in this pit because apparently this purple acid damages you, but there's like some sort of certain jump that I was trying to figure out as far as what to do, and I was really hoping, like there's a ledge right there as you can see, but I don't want to jump to it because it's kind of annoying. But I'm not really sure if you have to, if the game is really forcing you to be able to do it. But it's just, I mean, the jump in this game is somewhat awkward within a sense as far as saying it. So it's just kind of the tone as far as me just questioning as to whether or not how necessary it would kind of be within the tones and pitches kind of behind it. So I don't know, but there just doesn't seem to be. Yeah, I kind of particularly forgot what I was talking about here within the pitch. The cat hit the keyboard, and then that messed up like the recording sequence of it. So it's just on the pitch, but I did manage to get about 6.5 minutes or so, a little bit more than that within the fair behind it. So basically, yeah, like I was saying, it's just within the concept as far as talking about that Eminem particular mixtape, just within the fair. And there's some other ones like that, but just the concept about it is, like I also realized within the concept as far as saying that nowadays, just within like, it has to do with the product of just the fact that it's just getting more distant from like the concept of being able to have cogent memories of Dat Piff, just because it's been so many years since it broke apart. Because it wasn't just 2023 that it was like that, it was also 2022, maybe even before that 2021. I mean, it just has been kind of a shoddy type website since about the early 2020s. I mean, there's been here and there type things that popped up like Meek Mill, I want to say dropped like Dream Chasers 5 or something like that, but just in the pitch, or maybe it was Flamers 5, I don't remember, something like that. They at least tried to promote things, but this was kind of haphazard more in a sense. They got more awkward to be able to download things, and it's just kind of the concept. I think folks that maybe if it had been like 5-6 years ago, there'd be folks who might have still had some memories with enough things, like because like for example, like my old computer that broke that had like a recording sequence that has like I think part 21 or part 22, whatever part that's missing from this particular gameplay playthrough up to this point. I just would have to say, like, the concept behind it was just the fact that that computer had over 50 mixtapes that I had downloaded even when Dat Piff was available. So I lost some of that. The only way to get it back is to go and get my computer repaired, because I question if I would be able to download some of those. There's one of which, like Jody Breeze, which I'm not really sure as to whether or not he's still available. I think if I look hard enough, I might be able to find it, but I may not. And it's just with the pitch. I remember downloading it off of Dat Piff back in the day. A real tough mixtape to get nowadays is Deuce's mixtape. That particularly disappeared because some folks kind of, I don't know if they hacked it like his Spotify, but particularly the Call Me Big Deuce mixtape that came out in 2011, you just can't download it anymore. It just happens to be the pitch that it's just gone. It's within some of those type fairs, but it's just within the pitch. I mean, it's available on Spotify, but they slashed some of the songs, so it's not as good. So it's just within the pitch. I just recommend finding the mixtape on YouTube, some of that type of fair. But this pitch is like that, so we'll get to more of this later on as far as this fair is going to happen. Subscribe for more fun. Thanks for watching. Have a wonderful night, and stay tuned for more of these.